Hey guys, just remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in winning this cookbook, just comment down below. Thanks. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing Mooncakes and Milk Breat by Kristina Cho. Kristina Cho is an online food blogger who mainly goes over Chinese cuisine, Cantonese cuisine, and various Western cuisines. She's from Cleveland, Ohio, and she spent her childhood in her family's Chinese restaurant. She went to study architecture, and after graduating, she decided that she really loved cooking, and she worked on her food blog while working on architecture. Today, she runs the Eat Cho food blog, which has some really great recipes, and I really recommend checking it out. She currently lives in the Bay Area, where she works on recipes, and she gets inspired by the diverse food culture out there. This is her first cookbook, which mostly goes over Chinese bakeries. I think what she says in one of her interviews sums everything up. I grew up in a very food-centric family. My grandparents immigrated from Hong Kong to the United States in the late 60s and started working in restaurants to make a living. In this book, you will find plenty of classics from Chinese bakeries, but there are also many new recipes and flavors that are inspired by my own personal experience as a Chinese American. This cookbook feels like Kristina's personal story and her personal favorites of Chinese bakery. I really feel the passion that she has in this book. Throughout the book, she deep dives into Chinese bakeries around the USA, and she kind of goes over the importance they had to the local region and maybe with their specialties. If you ever walked into a Chinese bakery or an 85 Degrees and you loved everything to offer, this would be a really great book to pick up. Recipes go over mooncakes, sweet baked goods, savory baked goods, dumplings. It's a lot of really great Cantonese and Chinese recipes. This book explores a side of baking that Western cookbooks don't really go over and underutilize. Some of my favorite baked goods are from Taiwanese and Japanese bakeries, so I really like having this book around. I use this book a lot for milk bread, one of my favorite things to bake. I really enjoy baking the cookies in this book. I really enjoy baking all the types of desserts in this book. She has sections that describe how to do a process like pinching and pulling bread dough, and then pictures on showing you how to do that process. So I think this book is really good for beginners. It's also good for more skilled bakers because you get a lot of good ideas from learning about a different culture's baking. I really like that there's the mooncake section, and she goes over different types of mooncakes like the snow skin mooncake, which has ice cream, or the more traditional mooncake, which has red bean and yolks in it. I'm familiar with mooncakes, but I've never seen recipes or tried to make it. This makes me really want to go out and try to make these mooncakes for myself, so I think that would be really fun. It's a great book to have if you're kind of interested in learning more about Eastern desserts. Her almond cookies are delicious and simple to make, but she also has more complicated recipes, like the mooncake for instance. There's also a drink section in this book, which goes over classic drinks you'll find in a Chinese bakery. I really like having this part as well, so I can kind of pair a drink with anything I bake. What was interesting about her almond cookie recipe was she didn't whip any air into the butter and sugar before adding the flour. I don't know if that's a style or not, where you want thinner, flatter cookies. I think I'm gonna try this recipe again, but whipping the butter and sugar for 8 minutes and kind of see how that comes out. Another recipe I've made has been the pineapple bread, which is very similar to melon pan from Japan. I've done a lot of different recipes for melon pan, and I have to say that this recipe has probably been the best that I've done. I really like this book. It kind of came at the right time because I've been really trying hard to find a book on Japanese, Cantonese, Chinese baking, and there wasn't really anything out there until this book. I have this book in my collection. I really recommend it. My only issues with it is I think the formatting of the recipes is kind of sloppy. The intro text is the same font as the actual recipe, so it kind of just starts and goes. There's not really a distinction between the recipe and the introductions. Also, I wish the recipes were kind of broken down a bit and a little simpler to read. It's just kind of one big blob of text and you can kind of get lost reading the recipe. I really like it when recipes have everything broken down into steps. Another issue I have is all the recipes are kind of scattered everywhere. There's like savory stuff within sweet recipes. It jumps from chapter to chapter, goes from savory to sweet, savory to sweet. I kind of wish it was all sweet in the beginning and all savory at the end. I think it's a lot easier for me to process. Otherwise, I think this is a really great book, and I will keep it around for reference. I'm giving this book a 9 out of 10.